was also known as the lion.
A great
So
hunter.
And that's where we get King Richard from. Okay.
Islam.
Islam. So you had it's funny because I was just studying this last night. And I wasn't even planning on getting into this aspect of it. But you had the takeover. I'm gonna tell you how I found this information. Because a lot of times Moors are asking me like, well, how do you know what to study? You know, how did you get there, right? So somebody inboxed me and was like, asked me about a writ of discovery. So I responded like, I don't know what a writ of discovery is. I've have yet to see a writ of discovery in any ancient and modern legal or lawful matters. Like I've never heard of a writ of discovery. So I went to Google and there was a lot of Moorish flags and American flags upside down, inside out, writ of discovery. So I'm like, okay, this must be something that only Moors are doing. So I went to go and look some more, and then I went to some more, of my go-to older resources, and a writ of discovery never came up. Then I found some other writs, and I found this thing called the that was called the Red Book of the Executioner. The Red Book of the Executioner, right? And I started to read it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've never even heard of this before. They got all different volumes, and it was really intriguing, and it was breaking down the Red Book and how it was one of the first legal manuscripts that came from what they call down here the statutes of the realm. The statutes of the realm. Right? And it's what helped create the Magna Carta. It also, like it says here, treaties on the practice of the execution came out of the Book of Fees. Right? It created the Royal Mint, pipe rolls. Right? This was all about commerce. Right. They even had the Black Book. They got the White Book. They got the Doomsday Book.
That's when I started saying, hold on, they got a red, they got a white, they even got a tan book.
They got a tan book.
Green book.
Green book.
But see, you can trace all those books back to ancient Kemet. because the Green Book is going to be parallel to the Emerald Tablets. And
That's
so
right.
even when you look at Tahuti, who was also Lord
right.
Tut, you always had several different books that he was over. So his wife was Sashat. So she was in charge of time. And so there was a book of time. And then he was also keeping your book of deeds. So everything that you did was constantly recorded. So
Say
that's
what?
why when you actually looked
A
at
book
the
of what?
Amenta of
A book
deeds,
of what? Wow.
deeds. How about that? A book of deeds. And so that's why when we say indeed, right. So now that's what ends up at the Amenta. So when you're sitting there being judged, you always had Tahuti there, and he was showing all of your multiple books. And so when we end up with blackmail and all of those things that happen now, it's because somebody kept records of the books and have the pictures that support your deeds.
Where do y'all think they kept the these deeds at? So if they were the Emerald Tablets, they kept them where?
Those were the things
In
that
the
were kept in
land
those
of Oz.
libraries.
It was in the Emerald Mounds.
Ah.
Where's the Emerald Mounds?
The doc said, she knows something about that, y'all.
Where's the Emerald Mounds, Morris? Let's get back to it. Remember? It's Emerald Mounds. Isn't the Emerald Mounds in Ohio?
I was gonna say where they got those big old nasty catfish at. The world's biggest catfish come out of Ohio, they say.
Now, isn't that interesting? Because Kemetic people do not eat catfish because of all of the catfish that were in the River Nile. And one of those, when all of the body parts of a Sar were distributed up and down the Nile, the catfish is what ate his followers. The reason that those who practice Kemetic science don't eat catfish at all. And so you also have a part of the Emerald Mounds down in Natchez, Mississippi as well. Is that the same set?
It is. This is the Mississippian culture, right? So you have the let me pull up my map here. Right, we're gonna go down this Mississippi River. Let's climb this river, y'all.
He said up and down the Mississippi River, and it makes sense to me.
Right, so this Mississippi, then we're gonna break off and we go into the Ohio River. So we're gonna break off of the Mississippi and go into the Ohio River. So this is it right here, right? There is a river that breaks off right here in Cincinnati area. It's called the Miami River. See, I know where I live. I know about the rivers.
Okay, Governor.
I know about, you gotta know, you definitely gotta know where your water tributaries are. And you learn a lot of this when studying. Because when you're studying and it's saying, you know, the Ohio's Moors, they were once all the way over here. Let's get to it. The Ohio's Moors was once all the way, where we at? Over here in Delaware, right? And these were the Delaware's Moors, also known today as the Lenape, right? So they reversed all the way from over here and went to the Ohio's, because at one point in time, Ohio actually was like a reservation. Before they started moving them out to Oklahoma, before they started moving us out to Oklahoma, a lot of us was sent to Ohio. So this is where you start seeing a lot of
It
the
makes sense that you hear
Confederate.
about things shifting and America shifting as all these different other nationalities come over here. So
Yeah,
it makes sense. It's long.
yeah, because we now getting into the 1800s. Like I keep saying, remember down here, where we at, Arkansas. Down here, right here is where they had that huge 1812 New Madrid earthquake, right? So the New Madrid earthquake, right? This happened for several months, right? And it's crazy because they didn't really have any information. I mean, I didn't scatter libraries looking for information, and hardly anything you can find. New Madrid.
That's where meditation come in. You read so much
Oh
of
yeah,
the Moorish American prayer and meditate on it, even if you have
that's
to
where
lay
I get
down.
a lot of it. A lot of it comes from.
Tell you what you need to know. That's right. Who taught us that?
This is why it's important for all Moors to meditate. All Moors to meditate. Because a lot of what we're having these discussions, it's not like we ever plan Koran class. Like there's an agenda that's written down. And it's cute, but it continues to grow. And the more we stay in meditation, you know how I believe it's rumored that the prophet said that if you don't want a more to know something, don't think it. Can you imagine if we're all on one accord meditating what these classes will become? People will be, I mean, absolutely, we'll end up breaking the Zoom. Like people are like, you only taking 100 people? That's y'all's maximum capacity? We need this because we got people that are starving. So it's incumbent upon us, while it's just the 70 of us that come on every week, when we start meditating, that's how we begin to become magnetic.
This is adapt degrees, science that our people use to fight off wars, etc., and build America. Wow.
Yes.
Islam. So we have this great earthquake. All right, it says the New Madrid earthquake were the biggest earthquakes in American history. They occurred in central Mississippi Valley, but were felt as far away as New York City, Boston, Montreal, this is Canada, and Washington, D.C. President James Madison and his wife Dolly felt them in the White House. Church bells rang in Boston. From December, okay, so if the church bells was ringing on its own in Boston, this happened in the Midwest. From December, I want y'all to understand, from December the 16th, 1811 through March 1812, 4 months straight, church bells are ringing for 4 months straight. There were over 2,000 earthquakes in the central Midwest. In between
to hear bells like that will scare
6,000.
everyone. That's like fright mode.
Yeah. In between 6,000 to 10,000 earthquakes in the Boot Hill of Missouri, and where New Madrid is located near the junction of the Ohio and Mississippi rivers.
Colorado, Anna, Illinois, will take you right over to it. St. Louis, Missouri, all that, Boot Hill.
So you mean to tell me 10,000 earthquakes and a war was going on? Make it make sense. The War of 1812. From June 1812. So if the bell stopped ringing in March, they was able to restore the majority of the country within 3 months. How long did it take for them to actually restore Hurricane Katrina down there in New Orleans? How long did it take them? Wasn't it years for them to clean up New
It was
Orleans?
definitely years. I just couldn't put a number to it, but it was definitely years. It was
Okay.
nothing real quick.
Let's
And they got
talk about 9/11. How
technology.
many years did it take? I mean,
Years.
years.
Islam.
Islam. And then
And Katrina still ain't cleaned up. It's still not cleaned up.
It's down there looking like a little baby Nigeria.
All day, all day. And that same energy is still there. That murderous energy is still there. And that panic and the hopelessness is still there. You can do as many Mardi Gras as you want to on top of people's graves. It's not going to change that energy.
That's right. So here it is, the War of 1812. It was happening up here, up in Canada. It wasn't being fought down south. This was still Spanish, Louisiana. This is all British America.
They've been lying up and telling us anything.
Man.
Until now, we are waking up.
The War of
And see, now we're not getting ready to just wake up and have a lot of picket signs. We're filling out forms. And that's not what was being expected. It's a whole different dynamic when you begin to fill out forms. Oh yeah, when you fill out forms, yeah, that's when it's a whole different dynamic.
Pushing the pen. They hate when we push the pen. You're right. They want us to get out there
the sword.
Like you said.
Exactly.
Right. They want us to get out there and carry a sign or so, or Facebook, whatever, social media, whatever, and not do anything. You start putting that pen. Oh man, somebody gonna get paranoid because somebody got to answer to that.
And the War of 1812 was fought by the United States of America and its indigenous allies against the United Kingdom and the allies in British North America. Now, this is how you know they lie. They're lying. It didn't happen that way, right? This is why you have to really This is the 12th Congress of the United States.
We need to do some kind of animation series where it's telling it in a way where people grasp this in a more of a joking, or I ain't gonna say joking, more in a childish way. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's on.
That's right.
We gotta be able to translate this. We gotta be able to translate this information to where people want to grasp it so they could see it, and just like they subliminally do us in these cartoons.
Right. You know what he's saying? You know what he's doing? The ancient ones, y'all. We had a brother by the name of Brother Drell Armour Bay said that he wanted to hook us up somewhere it could be used 30 years from now, and he works in that field, the metaverse, social media. He got it on lock. And eventually we will exactly do just that. Leave some cartoons behind.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Well, now brother
definitely
BL
in
is a beast with
animation.
it.
You know, what's the
Okay.
what's the European that played not Robert De Niro, but you know, those guys kind of like the good fellow guys. You know what they said? They said they don't care who they are in real life, but it don't matter because they on TV, they
Back.
whoever they want to be. And you're gonna forever see it, you're gonna ever replay it, you're gonna talk about it.
That's right.
Script,
For
right?
a lifetime. Whether it's truth or falsehood, it's gonna be replayed.
It's gonna be replayed. They don't care. And they're gonna rally behind it.
That's interesting, though. I must say about the cartoon sort of shorts, because if we all recall, like the early creations, like on the Jackson 5 cartoon or the Fat Albert cartoon, but nothing beyond that. That simple animation, can't be all expensive, though. We should look into it. I mean, I'm already looking to it. Hopefully, get a course in it at the same time. We want to know people that got these skills, or we want ourselves to have these skills.
We got them right here. I'm telling you, brother BL is the, I'm just a truck driver. Whatever.
You can't. You sound muffled, sister.
He drives a truck, but brother BL is a beast with the animation, with the graphics, for all of that. He is a beast with it. So if we need those services, we got it right here within the family. I had no idea back when we were doing meditation last year and brother BL was there with us every day. I had no idea that he was the beast that he is. He is an absolute beast. So we got all of it right here. That's why it's so important. Wednesday night, Friday night, Sunday, when we have these conversations, we never know what each other does. And so there's no reason for us to be struggling because everything that we need is right within the temple.
Islam. So here we have the War of 1812, and right after it going into effect, now we have all different types of ordinances and acts that are going out that is preparing and collecting arms, rations, etc. to be able to fight this war. And what's even more interesting is, like in here, it says being enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that in addition to the sums appropriated by the act making appropriations for the support of government for the year 1812, the following sums be and same are hereby respectively appropriated. That is to say, for defraying the expense of printing the subscription certificates and issuing the same to the subscribers to the loan of $11 million. Now, where they get $11 million from? Where they get $11 million from when they owe France money. They still owe Britain money. So where they get $11 million from? Authorized by the act of Congress passed on the 4th day of March, $1,812, including costs of paper and other expenses incident to the receiving of the subscriptions, also for the cost of paper and printing of the certificates of funded 6% stock to be issued for the amount of the said loan and other expenses intending the funding of the same $5,000. For the expenses in making a digest of the manufacturers of the United States under the joint resolution of both houses of Congress passed at the present session, $2,000. For compensation to the marshals and assistant marshals for taking account of the manufacturers of the United States in addition to the sum heretofore appropriated for the purpose, $40,000. For the expense of firewood, stationery, printing, and other contingent expenses of the two houses of Congress in addition to the sum heretofore appropriated for the purpose, $8,800. For paying Aaron Greeley, assistant surveyor in the District of Detroit, for surveying private claims in the Michigan Territory pursuant to an act of Congress passed the 24th day of April, $1,812, $5,575.93. He wanted his money to the cent. And it be further enacted that the several sums thus appropriated shall be paid out of any monies in the treasury not otherwise appropriated. Where are they getting this money from? You see why it was so important for them to move further in? They needed more lands to conquer. They owe everybody and their mama. They owe everybody. So this is why they say, okay, yeah, French will help you fight against the British because we owe you so much money. Y'all remember when I went over a couple weeks ago about the what was it, the Young Fund after the First World War? Because they had stopped paying
Remind us of that. Remind us of that, sis.
The Young Fund, let's see. All right, this was right after, was it JP Morgan?
Okay, gotcha.
Came up with the idea of the Young Fund. And they all was supposed to pay, all of the European nations was supposed to continue to pay off their war debts. After 1933. How did I find it? I'll find it and I'll put it in I'll put it on Mighty Networks.
Islam, gratitude.
Islam. But after 1933, well, after World War I, all the European nations decided to pay off the debts to everybody that they had harmed. Young. J.P. Morgan. Put that there so I don't forget. So they decided to pay off their debts. And remember, they still owe debts from all the way back here. Then they owe debts from the Civil War. Because during the Civil War, well, they owe debts for the Mexican War. They had stopped paying the debts during the Mexican War. They owe from the Civil War because they stopped paying the debts on during the Civil War. So they kept prolonging the debts that they had owed to France and to Britain. Now, the reason why the majority of all of the conferences, like the world conferences and things of that nature, is always held in France, right? So the Netherlands and Switzerland, you know, the reason why is because they get so much of allegiance from the United States, because the United States owes them so much money. So y'all remember the past, what, 2 years now, all of this so-called money that has been approved for all of these different foreign countries and their refugees coming over here, right? So you got Ukraine refugees, right? You have right before Ukraine. Does anyone remember who came over here before Ukraine? This has been in the past 2 years, y'all. Come on, you got it.
Syrian.
What was the war that they had for over 20 years? What was the war at that Biden just took everyone away from the war immediately? So it's like
Iraq
and
Afghanistan.
Afghan, yeah.
There we go.
What they call that thing, Black Hawk or something?
Refugee. This was the war on terror, right? Right. So you got Ukrainian refugees, you got Afghanistan refugees, and then you have the border, right? You got the border refugees. Now, if you I want y'all to listen to this video. I'm gonna play this video because it was just mind-boggling to me that they would actually even say this on TV.
Mind-boggling, Sister K?
I was gonna let that slide. I was going to let that slide. I heard
am I the only one that knew what she meant?
I
knew exactly what she meant.
Because I said I'm gonna stay
That's
here.
common, yeah.
I am not going to mention that boggling was brought up.
Yeah. So
it was not me that identified the boggling.
Yes. Because I still can't.
Around her doctor,
I
and she
still
sound like her
can't.
doctor from time
Boggling. Moorish boggling.
I still can't, like, it's just like, wow.
Wow.
All right, I'm gonna play this, y'all, so y'all can see. This is in Indiana. I want y'all to hear this.
Will we also be boggled?
A young man from Ukraine is safe here in Indianapolis after fleeing Ukraine on foot. The trip was made possible by a worldwide network of people and his adoptive parents here in Indy.
And our Logan Gay shares his incredible journey here to America.
Meet the Wright family. Over 23 years, the Wrights have maintained loving relationships with 44 foreign exchange students from across the globe who have called the Wrights their host parents. But in 2017, one Ukrainian orphan stole their heart.
The moment I saw this photo, I'm like, oh dear, I think this might be our son.
She's talking about Anton Bezborodov. The Wrights were hoping to adopt Anton after he stayed with them for Christmas, but they weren't able to adopt him due to Ukrainian laws. But that didn't stop them from adopting him into their hearts. They continued to support him from afar, calling him every week and providing for him financially and emotionally.
We'll talk about anything and everything, just everything you did this week. I want to know everything you did this week. I want to know everything. Did you eat enough this week?
Then war broke out in Ukraine.
My greatest fear through all of this was that, one day I would text him every morning, and I would text him and then no reply. Because if he went to the army, if he went to the front, and if he were killed, nobody would ever know that we care for him. No one would ever know that he calls me dad.
They acted fast to put together a plan.
In my parental panic, I just want him out of the country. I want him away from, from the war.
Anton remembers it being chaotic when he tried to flee.
You could see that people are panicking, crying, some women are crying.
Because he is a 20-year-old man who wasn't allowed to leave the country. However, thanks to a network of foreign exchange families, they were able to come up with a plan to get him across the border to Romania. But it would be a daunting journey that would require an all-night hike in freezing temperatures, through a forest and across rivers to reach the border. When he was safe, he called his parents and said he was ready to come home. Through another connection, Thomas met a man who could legally get Anton across the Mexican border into San Diego.
He said, Dad, I'm in America and I want to come home now.
He arrived in Indy in April.
After I stepped, my foot on the United States ground, I was I had so much of relief.
Anton is now settled at home with his parents and his adopted brother, Limba. The Wrights say the journey to this moment still doesn't feel real, but they wouldn't change a thing.
We have wanted this for so long, and part of me is just wanting to shout out, thank you, God, because my kid is home.
What a journey. Now the
by
way
foot.
for Anton to get
By
permanent residency and
What?
citizenship. They still plan to adopt him. However, it won't help his immigration status.
Can you adopt a 20-year-old? Have that conversation. Who wants to adopt me? I need to be adopted since we adopting grown folk.
Hey, Bill Keith, Sister Bill Keith L.
Yes, beloved.
My potential adoptee mother.
Oh, because I thought you were trying to adopt me since you have farms.
50-some years of age. There are families who
farms. Yeah, I need to be adopted since we adopting grown folk. Did you notice how they said that they legally got him through Mexico? Did you notice how they threw that in there legally? Yeah. Okay. Sure you did. He's a tourist.
And the pan-Slavism is a big thing, and the populace is slacking. The Europeans in America is slacking because.
But pay attention. Did you see that dude stayed with them for Christmas, and now they want to adopt him? I ain't never had nobody stay with me for a holiday, and now I'm ready to adopt you, and I'm gonna risk life and lung and limb, and I'm gonna have you come live with me. That's all European. Y'all don't know that dude. Y'all don't know him. And you got him living up in your house now. You gonna fully adopt him? He could be a murderer. I say, a murderer.
They don't care.
Well, what's even more funny about it is the wife, she said she looked at the picture, said, "This is our son." You don't think how
Hear
you
that?
like that
Did you
is
hear that?
extremely weird.
She
That's
about to
very
freak that boy.
That's extremely pale skinned European. That's
That's
not
her
something
son
that
she
people,
gonna
we don't
sleep
do
with.
that.
They're gonna have a porn video talking about stepmom and son getting it on.
I mean, the way that the man did y'all see the African son that was in the picture? He was looking like Get Out.
Right.
Did y'all see him in the pictures? Like they just threw his picture up there with them, and he looked like Get Out. Like I want to get out. Somebody please help me. But even more,
be a lesson. We're not gonna do that.
He
Okay, anybody that
came
come
through.
live to y'all for the Moorish holidays, we're
He
not gonna
came
adopt them.
through Mexico.
Right.
He came through Mexico.
I don't even understand
Ukraine.
how
From the
they allowed an
Ukraine.
illegal alien
From
access.
Ukraine. Why would you come through Mexico? Okay, let me go back to my map, y'all, because y'all know I'm on my map.
Right, let's look at where Russia is. Let's look at where the Ukraine is. You done skipped over the United States, went to Mexico to bring him up through Mexico into the United States. Make it make sense.
Legally.
Legally.
Now remember,
on foot.
Bigfoot.
Oh my goodness. Now, let's see, Ukraine.
Islam, this is Jelani Bay. They're all Europeans. Ever since the Ukraine conflict came about, they've been trying to save them Europeans. This is why they're killing us up wholesale to make room for the Ukrainians. They're going to be the new Negro.
Oh yeah.
Here, and they're going to assimilate right into the doggone society. They weren't challenged at the border because the border is meant to keep us in, not nobody out. They got tunnels if they want to come up in Mexico. I mean, from Mexico.
Yep.
So yeah, it's to keep us in because they plan on taking us out.
Yeah. These are the new soldiers. These are the new super soldiers.
Seasoned super soldiers. They just come out of war. They ain't, they still at war. Seasoned.
Yeah, these are the new super soldiers who will do anything for the country that saved them. Right? So these are the new slaves, and they're going to do anything for their slave masters. Because see, they know we didn't already woke up. For the majority of us, we are fully aware of what has happened, what has gone on. We understand now. We didn't went through this right here, slave. For those who haven't yet, go to slavevoyages.org. Slavevoyages.org. This is Rice University's data for the transatlantic and the intra-American database of all of the ships that came from what they call Africa to the Americas, right? I want to go to I want to get down to 1619 because they claim that we all came in 1619. That's the new thing. The FBAs, the ADOSs, and everybody from 1619. Does anyone know what happened in 1619? I mean, they always come up with these new dates. First it was, we've always been slaves who came from African kings and queens, like kingdoms and empires, like the Mali Empire. Anyone knows what happened in 1619?
Not per se. I don't remember.
I remember something recently about a 400 years something that brought up the project of 1619. I'm just not remembering what it was about.
Anyone remember Sir Walter Riley?
Vaguely from high school.
Okay, everyone, remember when we first started doing the when we was doing the articles of Confederation?
I remember the name. I don't remember the content.
Okay. All right. So can everybody see my screen? Oh, let me share it. My bad. We're on slavevoyages.com, right? Let's see. 1619 slaves, Jamestown. Does that give you all?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Right. So this is the good old History Channel. On August 20th, they got a exact date. August 20th, 1619. 20 and odd Angolians. 20 and odd Angolians kidnapped by the Portuguese arrive in the British colony of Virginia and are then bought by English colonists. The arrival of the enslaved Africans in the New World marks a beginning of 2.5 centuries of slavery in North America. Two and a half centuries. 2.5 centuries. How many years is a century, y'all?
100.
100.
So we got 250 years of slavery.
Oh no, 400. That's what it said in the book of Deuteronomy.
Well, in the book of the conscious community, it's definitely 400 years of slavery.
Yeah, they're gonna pull you 400 years. They even take you back to 1550. And even if you talk to the Moorish American government, the Moorish American government is gonna take you to 1550 and will stand flat-footed and tell you that we got free in 1950. That's why everything broke free in the 50s. Because that was the end of our 400 years.
Well, then what happened is 1968.
I got tired of arguing after a while.
Islam.
Islam family. This is Brother Jelani Bey. What happened with the offices in the South where
Come on, bro. Come on.
And when slavery ended, 87% of the House of Representatives in South Carolina were Moors. So was Master teaching civics at the plantation or something?
Yeah, Master was teaching all of the civics.
Islam, brother Denali Bey made his way over here.
That's the elder. I mean, that's the elder Islam.
Master, y'all watch out.
Islam. What about 1740, the Negro Act? They said it only includes Negroes from Africa, and it does not include Gypsies, Moors, and Indians in treaty with the state of South Carolina. Also,
exactly.
The Free and Sundry Moors Act. You know what I'm saying? As we mentioned Virginia, but Virginia is where that black person, I'm gonna call him that on purpose because what he was talking about, he owned slaves and he was voting for perpetual slavery. To make sure these slaves gonna be mine forever. And this was a
forever,
dude.
even though I ain't gonna live forever, they gonna be mine forever.
They're gonna be mine forever. See what I mean? So how is that when everybody who looked like us was in slavery? We speak that narrative, and mentally it enslaves us. That becomes the excuse for why we ain't got a head. See what I mean? Because the generations was in slavery. Because my great-great-grandfather, and then you have some people, and I'm gonna shut up because I'm gonna shut up before I get on the road. And you got some sister. I remember being on a bus about 10 years ago, and this sister look. This sister was she actually was searching through her family to find a Caucasian, to find a European. and she's sitting here dark mocha brown. You know, and I'm like, see, that's that slave, that's that PTSD slavery thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got to remember that it was we Moors who gave them permission to come here. So how they got 400 years of slavery? When that whole thing was in 1787, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. So that's when we gave them legal right to be on the shore. So I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Now maybe, you know, so you know, you got Jamaicans thinking that they came from Africa. You got all these people thinking they came from Africa instead of being invaded.
Oh yeah. So we got right here, right? Let's look at the ships. Right. This is 1619. Right.
I wanted
Now
to
the thing about I love about ships is ships, you can't just be a vessel out on the water. You know how like, you know, in United States of America, right? You can be in Atlanta and you say, you know what, I want to go to LA, right? And you can just go to LA, right? You ain't got to ask for no permission to go from state to state to state to state. You ain't got to check in. You don't have to do any of that. But in the law of the water, you can't just do that. You have to check in, right? You have to show where you're going, where you came from, how much is on the ship. I go ahead. I'm yielding, brother Claudia. Go ahead.
Ship and who's on the ship. When you left, when you came back, all day.
It's on, brother Claudia.
He's gonna break it down into the aeronautics for us and take us to the next level.
What he gonna do, sis?
He's gonna take us to the next level. Absolutely.
Okay, I missed it. Hold on. Go back. What was the question?
I thought you said something. I thought you was trying to say something, brother.
Oh no, that wasn't me.
Oh, okay. That was someone else. Okay, well, we gonna go ahead and
see,
move
he
on.
thought it. He thought it. That's what
He's
happened.
in the vibration.
He thought it.
Don't think
Right.
it if
He
you don't want to
thought
more
it
than that.
all day. That's right.
Man, that's not a lot of slaves.
First of all, they not even landing. Okay, Cartagena. That's not South Carolina.
No,
that's not Virginia
or Baltimore.
That's not Maryland. See, they wasn't coming all the way into Baltimore. They was coming on the Eastern Shore, brother. See, they was coming into Maryland, but they wasn't coming into Baltimore. Let's see. Here goes some more. West Central Africa and St. Helena Port, New Spain, Veracruz, New Spain, Santa Marta. Again, some more Cartagena. Yeah, we haven't seen any, and these are all coming. You know, we can definitely see that, except for this one, this is Portuguese, Guinea. Yeah, Guinea, whatever they call it. Yeah, we still in 1619 and haven't found one yet. We got the 1620. What happened to this ship? Hold on, we ain't found one. Didn't it? We're gonna have to have a talk with the History Channel. Didn't it say on August 20th, 1619? 20 and odd Angolians kidnapped by the Portuguese.
Arrive at British colony in Virginia. They kept. They's exposed. Praise Allah.
Praise Allah.
Oh my goodness. See, they be getting you with the imagery. More.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's all that imagery be something else, don't it?
Man, look, you start showing images, they gonna start looking at you with the big eyes.
So we got let's see, 1690. Let's see. Here we go. 1690. Now this is the intra-American slave trade, right? So this is the same thing as, remember the story about Harvard University, y'all? And the first quote unquote African slave on the Harvard campus when it first opened. His name was Moore. And they said he might have been a Pequot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So remember the story of
It's from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Remember the story of the Shawnee Indians out in North Carolina, and how they was taking the men.
Yep.
And see, they was taking the men and bringing them
That's money.
down south into the Caribbeans, the Caribbean islands. See, it was easier to keep them on the island because there was no way for them to really escape. So when we ask questions like, well, why the slaves just didn't escape? Like, you got, okay, yeah, it was really hard to escape. Extremely hard to escape.
It wasn't from lack of trying.
No, you on the island.
It wasn't from lack of trying.
No, because we have all these other stories of you know, Chickasaw chiefs, and you know, Choctaw and Lenape and Nanatucket. You hear all of the stories of all these brothers and sisters that's running away. And it ran away so many times where they get tired of even running after them. So these are, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me blow this up some. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ships. 7 ships in 1619. And this one, called the White Lion, departed from the Americas and went to Hampton, Virginia. Now, how far is Hampton, Virginia from what they call Jamestown, Virginia, y'all?
Exactly.
Ain't that right there? Ain't that like the same location, really? Because, you know, like when you leave out of Hampton, so if you're coming from out of the Tidewater area, if my memory reminds me that when you leave out of the Tidewater area, you get into Hampton, you go up, and then you hit Yorktown, and then what? Jamestown is right there, isn't it?
Right.
Isn't that where Busch Gardens is at?
It's not.
Okay. All right. So
Busch Gardens is it's in Williamsburg.
Yeah, it's in Yorktown. It's in Yorktown. You got White Lion, and this White Lion ported from the Americas. It's not telling you where from. It says port unspecified. And then it got dropped off in Hampton. And the name of the captain was John Colin Hope. John Colin Hope. Let's click on this. They even got a whole voyage ID. Look at that. Shout out to brother E. Rice Bay, his family over there at Rice University. Put this together for us all to be able to see. Sold slaves in America's subsequent fate unknown. Slaves disembarked in Americas, not captured, delivered slaves for original owners. Prize taken from Portuguese. Principal place of slave landing, Hampton. First place of slave landing, Hampton. Look at this, y'all. Source of data. Didn't I tell you how important your source data is?
Source data.
Didn't I just go over that on Sunday? Look at this. 20 and odd Negroes arriving in Virginia, August 1619. William and Mary Quarterly. This was the newspaper that it was printed in.
So I wonder how many people it took to capture 20 Africans. You done fought through all the other Angolians. What made you take them 20? Were them the 20 that didn't nobody like? So didn't nobody care? They was like, yeah, go ahead and take them. You good. Yeah.
Those was the red-headed stepchildren.
Oh, well. From the house.
We don't want them 20 and odd Negroes over there.
You can
Y'all
take
can
them.
have them.
Yeah, take them. Nobody's gonna fight. As a matter of fact, we're gonna send an offering with you. Please take them.
They called it a prize.
Well,
but you see that it says that it came out of the Americas. It poured out of the Americas. It didn't pour out of Africa. How they get Angolian slaves? And then look, there's no slaves listed on here.
Not a one. Not a one.
Praise Allah. Well, Islam, we got to remember our keys. We got to remember the Negro River that's in West Africa in a questionnaire. It could have. We got to remember the Americas.
Brother.
Islam.
Where's the Negro River? You mean what? West America?
Hey, I'm just going.
The Negro River is in West America, not West Africa.
I'm just demonstrating the questionnaire, Sister K.
Demonstration.
Yeah, and the demonstration is the answer is the it's the Negro River. Now the Negro River has always been in the Amazon. We just did the map, right? We said that it take what, about 8-10 days to get from the last city. Was that what's the last city in Texas? And at that time that was still Mexico. In ancient times, that just became Texas. But the last city in Texas going down, even getting to Venezuela, right? That would take about 10 days. So the Negro River is even further down. So we didn't even map how far it would take us to go from the bottom of Mexico into Chile. We didn't even map that out yet because that was even further. But yeah, the Negro River is in South America.
Islam.
That's West America.
Hey, I'm just demonstrating the
Southwest.
keys. It gives us the ability to properly apply places that they're calling West Africa to America.
And we appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you. You are appreciated.
Islam, indeed. Yeah, there's no slaves. And again, they didn't come from this ship, did not dock from Africa. It came from the Americas. Now, the Portuguese took the ship over as a prize. That sounds like somebody lost a bet, or somebody couldn't pay their tariff tax. And so the Portuguese took the ship over. But on that day, in that year, 1619, yeah, them 20 and odd Negroes. Yeah, they didn't come from Africa. As a matter of fact, there was no Negroes. There was no slaves.
No, not one.
Not
no,
one.
not one.
As a matter of fact.
Look at this. This ship right over top of it is called the Treasurer, right? Prize taken for the Portuguese was them must have been them barbarous Moors. Cause I'm telling you, the Portuguese was taking everything, right? Look, it said prize taken from Portuguese. It must have been them barbarous Moors.
But Islam, those are the ones that started off the slave trade, the Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? They were the main ones. So yeah, our brothers when started capturing people, getting people back. That's what that was. Like you said, the treaties. Islam. Let the truth
That's
be
why
told.
you had the Barbary Treaty.
Islam. That's right.
Islam.
Page 3 of our Moorish Holy Quran, page 3.
Ooh.
He done gave us the page, y'all. He done gave us the page.
Islam family, y'all know me. Chapter, verse, sentence, paragraph, baby.
Islam.
Glory.
Islam. Wow, that's why we had the Barbary treaties. Because you had all of this. You got to pay me for coming through this water. You got to pay me this tariff tax. You know how it is when your cousin call you talking about can I get $20 until Friday when I get paid? And then when they get paid, you calling them all weekend long. They acting like they don't want to. They acting like they don't even see you calling them. They're like they so busy they can't respond to your texts.
Oh yeah, Moorish cousins don't do that.
All the Moorish cousins do that. Especially the Moorish cousins.
And every one of these governments today, corporations today, was established after the temple. Algiers, Tripoli, Tunis, Morocco.
Yeah. Yeah, you talking about the modern day kingdoms over there. Yeah, the modern day kings, Morocco, that wasn't there. It wasn't there in 1913.
We know what Morocco was in 1913.
That was the headquarters of the French Foreign Legion.
Yeah. And remember, they owe France. Come on, y'all. Look at it. This is when they proclaimed the War of 1812. I just went down all the money that they owe. It said $11 million. It said $11 million. Where did they get $11 million from? From the French. That's why they had to help the French fight Britain in the War of 1812. And they was only fighting, remember, up north. Because remember, you had the New Madrid earthquakes. Over 10,000 earthquakes happened from December 1811 to March 1812. It said the bells was ringing all the way. This happened in the Midwest. It said the bells was ringing all the way in Boston. Do you know how long it takes you to get from Boston to St. Louis? That's a whole day driving, no cap.
Now, if you drive without a cap, how long does that take?
You might want to put, they probably put some Moorish cap on it. So you gotta take the Moorish, you gotta take the Moorish cap off.
Ah, yes.
$11 million.
We might as well make this an all-nighter. I mean, there's no way we can just like end this one. And it, you know, it's only almost midnight Eastern Standard. So if we gonna do it.
To the loan of $11 million. Islam.